Hi YouTube, this is my Remington 700 SPS, chambered in a 270 Winchester short magnum. I've recently decided to try and free float the barrel and bed the action on this rifle to see if I can improve the accuracy. Got a target here. It was shot about 2 weeks ago. It's a pretty good representation of the average accuracy for this rifle. Sometimes I get tight groups on the left, sometimes on the right. I have 3 here, 2 here. Sometimes it'll be all 5 here or even all 5 over here. And then sometimes they're kind of strung in between. They're usually at the same elevation, but spread over 1 to about 1¼ inches across that. So I'm hoping that by free floating the barrel, bedding the action, and also increasing the rigidity of the stock, especially here on the forend, I can improve the accuracy just a bit. Now, one way to do that would be to throw this stock away and buy an HS Precision stock, but this is my first time bedding a rifle, so I thought it would be better to practice on this cheap Remington plastic one rather than potentially ruin a more expensive, nicer stock. As I've looked around for ways people have attempted to improve the accuracy of their budget rifle like mine, I found that some people have taken it apart and in this forend embedded steel rods or wooden dowels, aluminum bars, carbon fiber arrows, filled it with Bondo, or even like a fiberglass filler or just plain epoxy. There's lots of different ways that seem to have worked. In looking around online, I came across a product called the Match Grade Synthetic Stock Stabilizer. This was available on ballisticstudies.com, and that came in a kit. There were basically 3 reasons why I went with the Match Grade products. The first is that it appears to be developed specifically for this type of stock on a budget rifle. I think that this type of stock, being the type of plastic that it is, could be difficult for a lot of epoxies to bond to, and I'm hoping that this particular product, having been developed and tested specific to this application, will work well for that. The second reason is the product support from Nathan Foster at Terminal Ballistics Research. I've sent him a couple of emails and asked him a few questions. He's gotten back to me quickly with very helpful answers and information. He offers email support as well as Skype if you need it throughout the process, so that you can feel confident in taking on a project like this. The other reason that I chose this was the cost. It's really not that expensive. This Match Grade Synthetic Stock Stabilizer came together with the hardener, and that ran about $21. And then over here is the Match Grade Synthetic Stock, the Match Grade Bedding Compound kit, and that comes with the hardener, a release agent, and some plasticine to fill in the areas where you don't want the bedding compound to go. So these would be the products that I'll be trying to use. I'm going to take this rifle apart and we'll take a look inside the stock and get started. One last thing before I take the rifle apart. The Match Grade Bedding Compound kit comes with these items here, and it runs about $27. So it's $27 or so for the Match Grade Bedding Compound kit, and for the Match Grade Synthetic Stock Stabilizer kit runs about $21 or $21 and some change. Now these products do ship from New Zealand, so there is a little extra added shipping cost because of the international shipping. Alright, take the rifle apart. Okay, so inside of the stock, we will first start out just by cleaning it. Got some Zep Fast 505 Industrial Cleaner and Degreaser. Okay, we'll let that dry for a little bit, and then we'll start with the burn preparation. Okay, I got the stock degreased with brake cleaner and dried down in there, and got it taped off. The next step is to melt into the sidewalls and the bottom and each of these baffles here to rough up the edges as well as create a mechanical lock. From what I understand, the Remington SPS series stocks are made from polypropylene, which is known as a low surface energy plastic. What that means is that adhesives like super glue and epoxy beat up on the surface, kind of like water does on a freshly waxed car hood, how it'll just beat up and then roll off. So adhesives don't generally stick well to the polypropylene, so that's why we need to degrease it and rough up the smooth surfaces as well as melt into it a little bit. The melting burns a little bit of the oil, which does allow the adhesive to stick just a little bit better to the inside. At least that's what I hope will happen. I'm going to be working on all of these areas up to here. This is the recoil lug recess here, right here. And so I'm not going to do anything with that right now. We'll worry about that when we get to the bedding. But I am going to try and fill these areas here, here, and here, and then also this one in here around this action screw, the front action screw. Try to fill up those voids a little bit. Okay, so the first method I'm going to try for melting into the stock is going to be this wood burning pen. I hope it gets hot enough to do what I need to do. I think the melting point of polypropylene is somewhere around 260 to 280 degrees. So I think this should work. Yeah, it looks like it's melting into there. Here's some kind of burning and melting. Actually melts a little easier than I thought it would. A little bit of smoke coming off the end of the pen there. Just gotta touch the side a little bit. It's kind of hard to do with the camera in my face, so I'll do a little bit more and then I'll probably do the rest of it just without the camera. I need something smaller than the end of this to get down in some of these tinier holes. And the bigger ones I think it'll work fine, but right here I've touched the side of the stock a couple of times, which should be fine for later on when I cut that out or sand that area out to free float the barrel. But I prefer to only touch the areas that I'm intending to touch. So I think I need to maybe switch over to the wire or some other smaller piece to get down in some of these little areas. Okay, the next method that I'm going to be trying is heating this piece of wire with heat gun. I got this heat gun here. It's a Drill Master that I got at Harbor Freight. It's got two settings, a low and a high. The low setting didn't seem to be hot enough to melt into the plastic, but when I heat it with the high, it does seem to be able to heat it up hot enough to melt it. It's already cooled off, so I'm going to heat this up and try that. To get the wire hot enough to melt into the plastic with the high temperature. So the advantages are I'm able to just heat the end of the wire, so even if I touch the sides up here higher on the stock, it doesn't seem to be a problem. The downside is the wire cools fairly quickly. So I actually have a second one I'm setting in front of the heat gun, and then I'll just alternate between the two. This one doesn't seem to be very hot right now. Yeah, it's not hot enough yet. So it is possible to do it with a heat gun and a piece of metal, but I think I'm going to try the torch next and see if I can maintain a little higher heat on the wire for a little longer period of time. These are pictures of the melting I did using the heat gun, but going forward I'll be using the torch for more heat, and so I'm also going to burn a little deeper into the plastic. That way the stabilizer can get a better hold inside the stock.